Hello everybody, welcome back to the stream. Good to see you all again. Before I get into it, I want to remind everyone that Gunforged is available for sale, so if you want to support my work, this is a great way to do it. It's my first real release as a full-time indie game developer. And I also have my Udemy courses available for sale. This is also a great way of supporting me, but you also can learn how to build a complete game in the Godot engine. And if you're interested, I am currently working on a cooperative online multiplayer course in Godot. I currently have just about 5 hours of finalized lesson content. So 5 hours of video content so far, and I'm only probably 30 or 35% done with the course. So the course is going to end up being probably similar in length to my other courses, somewhere between 16 and 20 hours. So keep an eye out for that if you're interested by subscribing to the channel, hitting the notification bell, following me on the website formerly known as Twitter, and all that good stuff. So yeah, all that stuff is linked in the description below. And also in a week and a day, so not this Saturday, but the Saturday after, I will be releasing another Godot code review video. So got a lot of content lined up for you all. But yeah, lots of work to do. But anyway, we're going back into this game, which is yet to be named, the Necromancer grid name. Hello, Kinyaz. Quick check-in before DSA. Always good to see you. Welcome back. Hello, Luca. With the message, yup. I am also a busy man, Kinyaz. Rookie Tookie, good to see you again. What did I work on yesterday? What are you working on today? Are there any blockers? Yeah, so yesterday I ran the billing migration to support the new payment method that we're doing. By the way, Dave, if you have a minute this morning, could you take a look at that PR so we can get that merged before feature freeze today? It's Friday. I mean, you wouldn't be doing any feature freezes anyway, but gosh, I might have to be back in that world sooner rather than later, depending on how all this course stuff goes and the release of my next game. We'll see. Anyway, welcome back, Annie-Key. Good to see you. Got the course. It's great to see you. Great so far. Thank you, Brian. Great to see you. So you have 2 jobs between dev and teaching, or 3 with content creation and marketing. Yeah, it's basically like 3 jobs, because like I think working full-time on this game would be like 1 job, but then producing content for the YouTube channel, that's like content creation, and then the course is like totally separate. They all kind of relate to each other though. Mostly the YouTube channel is like a good way of driving traffic to the courses and to my my games and whatnot. So the YouTube channel is kind of like the linchpin that connects the 2 things together. But yeah, the courses and the game development are like not related to each other directly. Hello, Neozoid. Welcome back. Always good to see you. All right, so what are we doing today? We are going to continue on with this work. So yesterday I was stuck on that dithering thing, this drawer UI here with this overlay texture, but I finally got that working after much trial and tribulation. So we're going to dim the screen in and dim it out when the drawer gets expanded. So yeah. Sorry, I'm just looking at this. What am I doing? Let me see. Canvas group fade. Oh, it's got a script here, yeah. Script. Do I want to add a script to this? Maybe not. I don't know. We will see. So sorry. Yeah, I need to animate this. So let's do that. Overlay texture. Let's grab a reference to that. And we'll go ahead and do node private texture rect overlay texture. So now we need to animate this. So on expand, we need to this probably is going to be easier if I had a script to this. So let's do this. Save as. Resources material. Overlay material. So I've got this overlay material now. I can add a script now. New C# script. Oh no, I can't do that. Where do I want to add this? Scripts, resources. Huh? Uh-oh. I put it in tool. Okay. All right. I guess that's all right. Overlay material.cs. I'm just gonna copy all this. Did I call this one progress? Yeah. Progress, fade, tween, set shade, shader parameter progress. Yep. I'm just realizing now that there's probably a problem in here. I actually don't know how this works. This might be an issue. This might be an issue. Hello, Yeet. How are you doing? So I'm wondering if this is... So in here, I'm playing like fade out. This may be a problem. I don't know how this works actually. So in this here, in this play fade out, I'm creating a fade tween and then I'm awaiting that signal finish. But what happens if I kill the tween before it ever emits that signal? Does this just hang or does it detect that that becomes invalidated? I don't know. Maybe I'll test that. That seems like it could be bad. Hello, Aria. How do you like to handle state machines in Godot? I don't really like the idea of node-based states. I notice you have a state machine as class in Gunforged. Yes. So I have a delegate state machine, which is actually publicly accessible on my GitHub. So if you're looking for a C# implementation, I'll go ahead and link that if I can figure out how to do that. So hopefully that link is accessible. How do I get rid of this now? Oh, there we go. And then also I have a callable state machine implementation for GDScript, which I use. So it uses functions or callables as states. I'll link that as well. So yeah, That's how I do it, depending on whether I'm doing C# or GDScript. And yeah, I definitely prefer just creating purely script-based state machines, at least for the kind of state machines that I write. I'm not doing anything super complex or complicated. Anyway, you are welcome. You are welcome. So let's see. So in this drawer UI, I don't need this anymore. Let's get rid of that. Overlay texture. Private overlay material, overlay material. Overlay material is equal to overlay texture dot material. Overlay texture dot material as overlay material. So now when I expand the drawer, I can do overlay material dot play fade in. This. And then we'll do overlay material play fade out. Okay, I think that'll work. Now I do want to test this. So if I expand the drawer, I want to try this. I want to say var task is equal to this. Overlay material dot play fade out. That's gonna kill it. Await task. gd.print. Yup. So I should see this print. So what I'm trying to test is if I play this fade in, that's going to create a fade in tween, a new instance of the fade in tween, and it's going to await the finished signal. But if I call play fade out immediately afterwards, it's going to kill that tween and create a new one. So I'm going to see if that hangs, this original task, or if that original task is going to be marked as completed. And I should see this print yep in that case. If not, I'm going to have to come up with a fix for that. I think it should be fine, but let's see. No. So that does just hang indefinitely. Is that right? Object reference not set to instance of object. Overlay texture. Oh, I never attached a script to it. Oops. Let's see what this does. Hold on, did I get this wrong? Let's see. Overlay texture. Oh, I'm getting lost already. So when it's zero, it's transparent. So play fade out, right. Well, yeah. See if I see that yep print. Oh, that's not even working. Oh, wait, it does work. What the heck? Play fade in. Oh, this needs to go to 0. This needs to go to 1. Yeah, it looks like that is never... Looks like that will just never finish. So I think I'm going to have to probably figure out what the heck is going on there. That would be bad. That would be very bad. Okay, I'm going to have to figure that out then. So interesting. I never thought implementing a feature like this would take that long. Looks easy at first. Yeah, there's a lot of things that, yeah, look easy but are very complicated. Very complicated. Welp, I guess I'm just going to have to not await that. Let's do that. Let's just get rid of this. Yeah, we're not gonna allow this to be awaited. I'm gonna have to figure out something else for this, I think. In any case, play fade in. Let me just make sure this is working. I might need to make this. Let's see. Is that right? Hmm. That's what it should look like. All right, I need to reverse these colors. I'm so confused. I'm so confused, but we're going to try it. What game are you going to do next code review that you mentioned you were working on? It is a, I'll give you a hint. It's a game that was submitted by the developer to a game jam. So there's your hint. Do you prefer more C# or GD script? Does it relate to the scope of the project? Yeah, C#, yeah, for the structure and the static typing and all that stuff, especially for making larger games, is definitely easier. Do I need to study virtualization in university? I was thinking of going to IT. Would that be useful in any way? I don't know. I can't, I don't know if I can give you good advice there. I generally don't have a very high opinion of college for my field, software engineering, but that's for, I mean, that's kind of specific to the United States and its job market. So I don't know if I'd be able to give you any good advice based on where you're at. I assume you don't, I mean, I'm assuming you don't live in the United States because no one calls it uni here. All right, so that's the wrong thing. There we go. That's more like it. All right, let's see. probably speed that overlay up a little bit. No, we don't say university, we say college. I mean, there there are schools called like the school I went to had university in its name, but no one says I'm going to university. Everyone says college. Okay, that looks pretty good. I call, oh really? I called it Union Luna States. I guess I did kind of grow up in Quebec though. The same thing here. Yeah. I mean, they're used interchangeably. I've never heard anyone make a distinction between college and university. The icons are kind of dark, indicates the recording. Yeah, I mean, it's very easy to see on my screen. If you're on like a mobile device with the brightness down, it probably becomes a lot harder to see. But yeah, it looks fine on my screen. But maybe I will need to change the icon. I mean, this is what a playtest is going to be for, you know, because like if people just generally have that feedback of like, yeah, the game is too dark, then I'm going to need to figure out something for that. But looking at it over YouTube on a mobile device with the brightness down probably makes it darker than it otherwise is going to be during actual gameplay. So I need to that's looking good. I need to prevent the mouse events from getting past this overlay texture. So what I'm gonna do is in the expand drawer, I'm gonna set this overlay texture dot mouse filter equal to mouse filter enum dot stop, and then overlay texture dot mouse filter enum dot ignore. That should prevent mouse events from getting onto the map now when it's expanded. Yeah, so now I can't click on anything behind here. I have to unexpand that and then I can click on things. Sweet, and now I can put my things on there. I can go into my combat. So now what we need to do is we need to expand this but not have the overlay show. So we need the drawer to expand, we need this button to be hidden. All right, so that's going to be the next thing that I do. So add overlay animation. I'm in uni and professor's talking about largest subsequent subsets. Ask him a good question so I can repeat and look smart. I don't know. I don't know anything about subsequent subsets. I'm sorry. Largest subsequent subsets. I don't even know what that is. I mean, that's set theory, right? But what a subsequent subset is, I don't know. I was watching your videos recently, and I'm in one of them. You mentioned that you may do your next project in GDScript. Do you have an opinion on GDScript versus C#? I think GDScript is great, especially in Godot 4. I think it's really good. I'm really enjoying using it for game jams as well as for the course that I'm making right now. It feels very easy to write. It's with the static typing improvements. It kind of solves a lot of the issues that you get with like non-typed sort of interpreted languages. And I like it. I generally tend to think college is small to mid-sized facility where the focus is teaching, where the unis are bigger institutions with multiple courses and research and development stuff. Yeah, I mean, I understand that distinction, but like the college I went to was really small and it called itself a university, but it doesn't output any research or anything. So I think I really do think that the words are just used interchangeably. Hello, T. Hendricks. Oh, by the way, welcome, Allison. Alyson, good to see you. T. Hendricks, thank you all for all your great content. I see you use async await a lot in C#. I've heard Godot can be tricky with it. Do you have any tips or resource using it? I don't know in which ways Godot can be tricked. I mean, I guess I just figured out one situation. But generally speaking, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, do you have a specific question about it? Other than that, I pretty much just use async await whenever it makes sense. Any drawbacks to using C#? There's no web exports is the big one. I think that's it though. That's really the only drawback. And of course, needing the extra development tools and whatnot. But as far as like actually the experience of building your game, no, I don't think there's really, I mean, I can't think of any drawbacks. I go to school, it's called a university, but there are colleges in the university. Yeah, that was the same deal for me as well. It was a university, and then there was like the college of, you know, tech or whatever. I don't want to be too specific, but yeah, there were separate colleges within the university, or they called it schools too. So schools or colleges within the university. Colleges are like departments. We call those faculties. Apparently it's used with researching DNA. Surely it's close enough to your field to know. No, I don't know anything about DNA either. Faculties and departments in each college. Right, yeah. Right, yeah, that's how it typically is here too. All right, so I think this is all good. Close all. So yeah, we need to get this drawer to expand when we enter combat. So how do I want to do that? How do I want to do that? Do I want to put it in the run manager itself? I don't know where to put this. Maybe what I'll do is I'll just do a public void here. Public void force expand. I'm going to say overlay material.play fade out. Actually, let's do this. Expand drawer. Bool hide overlay equals false. True. What is going on here? Okay. And then I need a reference to that button too. Button dot, we're going to change the modulate is equal to colors dot transparent. Button dot mouse filter is equal to mouse filter dot ignore. I'm gonna need to figure out what to do about that, but let's just do this first. So in the run manager, enter state combat setup, enter state combat preparation, drawer UI.force expand, enter state event, drawer UI, force expand. Let me see what that looks like. So now if I go into combat, we got the drawer sliding in, Perfect. It's a little bit janky, but it's good. I can't click the button up here. It gets invisible and it sets its mouse filter as ignore, so it's not there anymore. So that slides in very nicely. It doesn't show the overlay. That's perfect. I want to move the health as part of that drawer as well, I think, just to make it look really nice. So I can pull this out here, close that, go into combat. That gets pulled out for me, which is good. And then I need to recollapse that now. And I keep getting soft locks there. That's so annoying. You know what? It's time to add the God mode mutton back in. Let's go ahead and add the God mode, var God mode. What was it called? Oh, it's called God underscore mode. Perfect. Get the God mode mutton back in here. We figured out the shader problem. Yes, indeed. College hierarchy lore is deep. True. Okay, we got the God mode mutton begin. Okay, so we need that to collapse now. After the combat. So I'm going to create a drawer. Let's do public void force collapse. We'll just call it collapse drawer. I'll just reset the button modulate every time in here. It's just going to be safer, I think. And then in the run manager, whenever we enter private void leave state combat, drawer UI.force collapse, private void leave state event, drawer UI.force collapse. Let's add those in here. State combat. Oh. Let's just store a variable in here. Private bool is force opened, is force expanded. Is force expanded equals true. Is force expanded equals false. Okay. This is going to be a little bit iffy, but it's probably going to be better. So if I do enter state map, what I can do is I can do drawer UI.force collapse here. And anywhere where I've added that, let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of it here. So basically the force collapse will only collapse the drawer if it's been forced open, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but I think it'll be fine. So open this up, close that, go to the combat. That should open up. We'll put the God mode in there, begin, goodbye. And it collapses and we go back to the map and I can expand it now. Sweet. So yeah, I think that's good. Actually, I probably don't even need to do that whole thing actually. Because I keep forgetting that I can't interact with the map when the drawer is expanded. So what I was worried about is collapsing it while it should remain open, but I don't think that's actually possible. Like, it's either going to be open because it's forced open, or it's going to be open because the user opened it on the map, but you can't interact with the map. So yeah, and I just pull this out. Sweet. So I can put this over here. Boom, boom. Put this back. Ooh, that feels really good. So now if I do this and expand that, right, okay, so there's a problem there, which is that if I manually expand it before it has a chance to be auto-expanded, I get stuck in this overlay here. So this expand drawer, if not hide overlay, overlay material. Let me try this. Do I have like an is drawer expanded? I'm never setting that. Oh, yes, I am. I'll move these into the actual function. So expand drawer, is drawer expanded equals true, is drawer expanded equals false. We're going to store it was drawer expanded. If was drawer expanded, overlay material dot play fade out. This. All right, let's try that. Oh, hide overlay true. Yeah, that's right. Okay. What structure of nodes or code should I use to make status buffs and debuffs for a deck builder? That is a good question, and that's going to largely depend on the overall architecture of the system. And I'm assuming it's not like a real-time game, it's turn-based, right? So I mean, what you can do just very simply if you want to use nodes is just have like a status component that cards can receive, and then add nodes that extend some kind of base status. I don't know if you're using C#. If you're not, it might be a little bit tricky, but you basically want to come up with a generic status implementation that can be added to a status component, and then the status component can be responsible for ticking all the statuses or applying all the statuses. And that just means calling all the proper functions on the individual status nodes, however many of them there are. If you're doing a turn-based game, you could potentially use custom resources for your statuses instead, which would be the same thing, except you wouldn't need to put them in the tree. You could just store them in an array. For Gunforge, which is a real-time game, I did use a status component that had status nodes added to it, and each status node was responsible for ticking its own logic. So basically the status component was just a container for statuses so that I could do queries against it, right? Like, does the entity have this status, X, Y, and Z, whatever? But then the statuses were confined to their own script, and they were responsible for dealing the damage and, you know, dying after a certain amount of time or expiring after a certain amount of time. So it's a tricky problem, but maybe that will give you some ideas. They're working on it, so maybe soon. What are they working on, Emerson? Welcome back, by the way. For async await, the node overrides to become async void. So how do you call async code from there and make sure it plays nice with Godot? Right, so for Godot built-in methods, Godot like override methods cannot return tasks, so you can't await them from, like, you can't await the ready method. So you have to come up with a way of avoiding that. But for any custom functions you can create a task. So it's trivially easy to do the async await you need to do with just writing your custom functions. I made a control manager to manage scene transitions, and now I'm debugging. Sometimes coding makes me want to throw my laptop away. You and me both. Not my laptop though, my desktop. Hello, Adam, welcome back. Good to see you as always. Status handler having different status components in it. Yeah, I think that's a good approach. Do I make a resource for status? Well, you can create resources for your statuses to store things like descriptions and icons and whatnot, but whether you actually put the logic in the custom resource, it kind of depends on, do you need access to the scene tree or not? In my case, in Gunforged, I needed access to the scene tree, so it made more sense to implement all of the statuses as nodes so that they could query the scene tree, get nodes and group, all that good stuff. Hello, Daniel. Welcome. I do not speak Spanish, I'm sorry. Your message got blocked. Oh, I see. Yeah, they were able to create a web build, but my understanding is that that's experimental and it's like not really... I don't know if they're really talking about it as like being the way to publish C# builds in Godot. My understanding was that it was just like an experiment that worked, but whether it will stay as an experiment or become production ready, I don't know. Is your game Gunforged totally successful? It is a moderate success, I would say, because it's my first real commercial release. I've released other paid games on Steam, but I never really put that much effort into making money with them. So Gunforged was a decent success, yeah. Not like super successful, but you know, it was a good chunk of money. What game are you trying to make right now? It looks like some kind of auto battler from the little gameplay I've seen so far. Yeah, it's a collectible card game auto battler with a necromancy / alchemy / medieval science theme. And the hook of the game, or the unique part about the game that makes it different from Backpack Heroes or the Bazaar or whatever, is that you can alchemize cards together, meaning that you can combine the abilities of many disparate cards into a single card to create really powerful combinations. So you could have a skeleton which typically does damage. You could alchemize the ability to heal onto it as well. So you could have a skeleton that attacks enemies and heals you. You could have a skeleton that hits enemies and does life steal damage. You could have a skeleton that does no damage at all and applies shields to you. And there's like a tag system and everything, so like a skeleton is tagged as a minion, and there are some cards that affect minions. So with alchemizing and strategizing carefully about what you alchemize in terms of what their tags are and how you align your board to get all of the bonuses, you can create very powerful boards with lots of good synergies. That's the idea anyway. Have you encountered any downsides for a large-scale project like Gunforged for C#? I have not, no. No downsides. How many copies have I sold with Gunforged? Over 2,000 now. It's over 2,000. Game I'm working on is very similar in style to yours. So cool I found your channel. Hopefully I can learn here. Yeah, welcome. I'm glad to have you here. How many years in development was Gunforged? It was on and off development for like 4 years, basically. And I mean on and off very precisely. Like there were months at a time where I would go without working on Gunforged. Okay, this is looking great now. So this finally solves the problem that I had of not being able to access the player board on the map, and this is all feeling really nice actually. It feels really snappy. It feels really, so here's the alchemy system. So watch this, this is my cheat item. It deals 10,000 damage, but I can alchemize these two things together and I'll get a skeleton that does 10,000 damage. So I'll just take that guy there. Upgrade card. Now I can upgrade him. And I'll make sure to grab the right one. One of these is going to be the normal skeleton, and this one has the enchantment as well as that damage, so I'll take that one. All right, cool. And I can go back. Oh, why is that? Oh, that's not right. Okay. Why is that happening? So when I enter the map, it's doing, let's see. When I enter the map, force collapse, collapse drawer. Let's just do this. If not is drawer expanded, we'll just return. It's a kind of a mess of logic there, but that's all right. Okay, this is feeling good, finally. This is feeling good, finally. Okay. Oh, I can't. Okay, let's do this, do that. Buy that, leave. This is feeling really good. Nice. I'm very happy with this. Double the poison applied. Can be affected by critical modifiers. Cool. I should probably make escape close that window as well, but we'll worry about that stuff later. So this is a problem I've got. Oh wait, maybe I don't. Almost soft locked myself. There's a ton of problems still with this game, but we're getting through it. We're getting through it. Booster. And I've reached my traversal limit, and now I'm facing a boss. Kerblam, goodbye. And that should end it. But yeah, there's these eyeballs up here, which tracks how many nodes you've visited. You've got 10, you can visit 10 nodes before you get automatically put into a boss fight. So you basically have a budget of 10 moves to decide how you want to acquire power on this map. And then you, yeah, then you do your thing. So there's one thing that I want to do here. Let's see, fix, let's see, yeah. Auto open / close logic on drawer. All right, let's take a look. By the end, your async functions will need to be awaited. How do you do this cleanly if your process signals are not async? Well, you shouldn't be awaiting anything in process because you're just going to pile up a bunch of asynchronous operations. Yeah, so I think you do have to think about how to work with your code a little bit more. Like for how the card combat works in this game, I'm not relying on signals that much because you're exactly right. You lose control over like the async await process if you use signals. So I do things in a very direct fashion. Like I have managers that call methods on the cards and then await their animations and all that stuff. So it's happening in a very like directed and controlled way rather than in a passive way by responding to signals. So if you ever have like a need to await something that happens in the game, you're probably not going to have a very good time if you try to coordinate a bunch of signals doing that. It's probably better to just call the method directly and then await the task that's returned. So you do have to think about it differently. It's not, you can't just go and like do Godot programming in the same way. You have to kind of think about how to get the async await stuff to work in the way you need it. Only downside of C# and Godot is you can't build HTML5. Right. Sounds awesome. I'm a big fan of the Bazaar, so I'll keep an eye on this project. Awesome. Thank you, Mart. Yeah, the Bazaar is a huge inspiration, and I think, yeah, I'm just wrapping this in a single-player roguelite formula. So I think what's going to make this game different than like Backpack Heroes of the Bazaar is that I can allow the player to have runs where they go through a massive power spike, and that will be really fun. I do have status debuffs. Yeah, I'm using a status component where each status is a node. So I have like a poison status. And you can see that this extends base status. Oh, this is just a ref counted. So this actually isn't a node. It's just a class that extends ref counted. I actually don't remember. It's been a while since I actually worked on the gameplay of this game. I've been working on this map stuff for like a week and a half now. Thank you, Mart. I'm way too comfortable with GDScript and don't really like C#. Is a large-scale game hard to make with GDScript? No, I don't think so. I think you can do it just fine. There's been a lot of very successful Godot games that use GDScript, so. By the way, I really liked your tutorial about components. It helped a lot with keeping my own project structured and manageable. Awesome, glad to hear that. Do you use swapping inventory system? I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you mean, Kelso. The video is called something like composition. If you just search my channel for composition, I think it's, or you can sort by popular videos on my channel. It's like the highest viewed video. Going to be able to expand your deck board, or is it going to stay small to incentivize the alchemy stuff? Yes, you are going to be able to expand your board, but I do want most of your power to come from like the alchemy system. So I do want there to be a feeling of a constraint where the players are incentivized to squeeze as much power out of the board size as possible. But yeah, there will be, the board can be expanded for sure. It's just not going to be like the board expansion is a node on the map. So if you want your board to expand, you have to actually visit the node. So like here's a grow board, a node. You have to visit that one if you want your board to grow. There's another one here. But you can forego those if you want, because you can visit the alchemy if you want. There's an alchemy here too. Hello, Mycoon Dev. Thank you for the 99 cents euro. Very much appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. Always appreciate that. Do you know the backpack algorithm? I don't know the backpack algorithm, Kinyaz. I don't know it. I mean, maybe I've been exposed to it before, but yeah. Could probably watch your VODs and follow along to make status debuffs, right? You might be able to. The thing is, like, it's not like 100% of this game's development is captured in VODs, so it may be the case that I worked on that system off stream. But you are certainly welcome to go back in the VOD history and see if you can find out. How does alchemy? Not very smart, are you? Well, maybe not. To be determined. Let's see. How do you divide your time between all the stuff you do? Oh, that's easy. I do the stream in the morning, and then I spend the rest of the afternoon recording course lessons and the evenings. So actually, that's not even entirely true. This morning, I recorded 2 new lessons for the course that I'm working on, and I edited them as well. So I did that for like 2 hours before getting on the stream this morning. Do you make a playlist of your VODs of the game, or is a keyword I could search for VODs of this game project? All of the VODs for the past couple weeks have been this game. So you can just go back in the live history, and it's just going to be a wall-to-wall of this game. Hello, a bit fishy. Welcome. Everyone's happy that it's Friday, huh? We got a talkative chat today. I think it would be funny, actually. I wonder if you could do this. I wonder if you could accurately estimate what day of the week it is based on the chat volume. I bet you could. I bet you could. You could come up with an algorithm that accurately tells you the day of the week just based on how many chats are coming in. When are subs members coming? Someday. Thank you again, though, Mycoon Dev, for the 2 euros. Very much appreciate that. Thank you. You can be funding my McDonald's habit for sure. How does alchemy work in your game? So the way that the alchemy works is that you get your little alchemy grid, and then basically you put any cards that you want into the alchemy grid, and then it will give you a choice of 3 outputs. So it generates 3 outputs randomly, and what gets randomized is the base card that comes out of the alchemy, is chosen randomly. So if you put a skeleton and a mushroom and a knife in the alchemy, the 3 output cards all have a chance of being one of those 3 base card types. Then it randomly chooses a number of abilities from each of the card to add to the randomized cards. So it could add healing to a skeleton when a skeleton typically has damage, for instance. And then it randomizes the crit chance and crit damage. So it takes all of the input crit chances and crit damage, and there's an algorithm that generates a number in between, like the minimum and maximum crit damage. And then there's also the tier of the card, which basically is just like a scaling multiplier. So if you've got a tier 4 card, that's just like a 4x multiplier on the numbers, basically. So it randomizes the tier, it randomizes the base type, it randomizes the enchantments that are on the card, it randomizes the critical chance, critical multiplier, and all of the abilities. But the parameters of the randomization are all defined by the inputs. So it's not purely random. It says, okay, these are the abilities I can choose because these are the input abilities. These are the base cards I can choose because these are the base card abilities. So basically, you're guaranteed to get a mixture of all of the input cards on each of your options after the alchemy process is done. And so that's a way, so you could alchemize 2 cards separate from each other and then put those alchemized cards together in an alchemy thing and get like an extra powerful card. So yeah, it's kind of like a way of building up cards in an interesting way. Probably will be working on that algorithm more in the future, but that's how it works right now. What name are you thinking? I'm not going to share the name that I'm thinking yet because I don't know if it fits, and I also don't want anyone to take it. Probably won't reveal the name until I get a Steam page up, honestly, because I think it's a good name that I don't want anyone to take. I just realized that I've seen some of your videos before. They were really helpful and I caught up to your stream. It's also amazing. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Mike Kundev. Yeah. 20K students in your course, what a success. Yeah, the courses are definitely the most successful stuff I've done. And it's actually like 35,000, so you're shortchanging me by 15K there, Kelso. What's your favorite indie game? Favorite indie game? I don't know, does Baldur's Gate 3 count as an indie game? Probably not. I have been enjoying, or I did enjoy No Rest for the Wicked recently, but that's an early access game, so I don't know if that counts. I really like Valheim. I don't know. There's a lot. I don't know if I could nail down a favorite. Name the 549 tier Big Mac. I could do that. Gonna add Easter eggs from Gunforge into this game? Maybe. Yeah. I think it's a little bit early to be thinking about Easter eggs and stuff because I gotta get the gameplay done, but there's certainly opportunity to do some fun stuff in here. Absolutely. What am I doing? Oh, right. I want to add the health globe to the slide out now because right now I have no way of seeing my health. So if I add the health globe, excuse me, to this drawer UI, I think that's going to be better. Okay, we're going to handle that after I take a quick break. What's the new course going to be about? Online cooperative multiplayer game in Godot. Should I grab Gunforge in Steam sale? Yeah, you can wait for Gunforge to go on sale if you want to grab it. Spent a lot of time making adjacency merging functions and the process of making it was absolutely crazy. Could you quickly sum up how have you made your grid and combining system? Mine's very simple. The grid is just a data structure. So it's a hash set of vector 2 I, integer vector 2s. And I just basically keep track of the dimensions of each card and which position they occupy in that grid. And I basically just have a bunch of, so it's a board inventory component here. This board inventory component contains all of the data related to what's on the board and which cells are occupied. And it also provides query functionality. So I can pass in query options here. And based on the query options, it's kind of complex, but based on the query options, I can basically query the board for certain types of cards that are either adjacent or within a row or whatever else. And it's all just data stored in here. And then in terms of merging the cards, that's very simple. It's just taking the cards that get added to the alchemy grid, removing them from the grid, getting that list of cards that were removed, jumbling them up with an algorithm, and then putting the output cards back onto the grid. So there's no like the player doesn't do any merging. All the merging happens just through code. How do you handle the pixels on your pixel art for not blurring? I don't know what you mean exactly, a bit fishy. Oh, right. You're probably talking about the filter mode. You need to set the filter mode to nearest on your textures. So here, if you go to a sprite here, under the texture property, this filter mode needs to be nearest. And you can set that to be your project default when you go to project settings. If you go under rendering, did I miss it? Rendering, textures, default texture filter, set that to nearest. And that's going to give you crisp pixel art every time. Made my grid just a dictionary. When item positions I remake the dictionary key. Yeah, that works. Yeah, I think that works just fine. Most popular game engine now is Godot more than Unity? I don't think so. I don't know what the most popular is, but I'd be shocked if Godot was. I'm fairly certain Godot is not. How do you do queries in GDScript though? That is a good question. Lots of array manipulation, I would think. Love how the liquid in the flask looks 3D. Thank you. All right, I'm going to take a quick 2-minute break, and when I come back, we're going to merge this health globe into this drawer UI here, so that we can actually see it. And I'm gonna maybe play around with making this button look a little bit nicer. I don't actually know. I don't actually know what I'm gonna make it look like, but we will see. We will see. Okay, I'll be right back in 2 minutes. In the meantime, please check out the links in the description below. Those are all the ways you can support me. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Take at least a year until Godot beats Unity, and that's if Unity makes a ton more mistakes, like adding a runtime fee. Yeah, I think I've said this before, but I think Godot is on the Blender trajectory, which is that it's starting off as a scrappy sort of open source small project that's used by enthusiasts of open source software and everything. But eventually it's going to become so big that it's going to start to occupy a sort of like de facto industry standard, right? I think that's a trajectory that Blender had and it is on right now. And I really do think that Godot is on that same trajectory, just a little bit more behind, you know, because it's a little bit, I think it's younger, or it at least didn't become as popular as Blender as quickly. But I really do think that Godot, it probably won't be within a year. I don't know, maybe I don't know the numbers, but Godot is becoming a big competitor, yeah. It's definitely on that trajectory. How long that's going to take, I don't know, but Unity straight up bloatware. Look at Godot, the whole thing is 200 megabytes, yeah. Yeah, that's true. Godot might be the first if Unity adds a runtime fee to a newer version. Newer game devs on lower end devices might choose Godot, right? Yeah. 254. Nice. Something free for developers made by developers? Yeah, I think this is true. A bit fishy. I think that Godot seems more accessible to me than Unity for new developers, but the problem is it's not as good as Unity for things like 3D development. So we'll see, but I do think that Godot's on that trajectory. And with people like Blender making nice, beautiful 3D games in Godot, you've got the Road to Vostok being made in Godot. I think that, yeah, as long as the Godot maintainers don't screw it up massively, which I don't think that's going to happen, I think Godot is well on its way to being a very popular industry-leading engine. But we're not there yet. We are not there yet. Okay, anyway, let's go ahead and take this health globe here. Actually, I don't need to... Let's just yeet this out. Zoop, goodbye. Yeet that out. And board pass-through control. We'll add... Let's create another pass-through control here. Add child node. Let's do an HBox container. Shrink begin. Add child node control. 102. Let's do drawer padding. Instantiate child scene. Health globe. This is player is on. Turn that separation down to 0. Good. Now the problem here is that this is going to look awkward, but that's okay. We'll just do that for now. All right, I think this will be fine. So we've got the health pass-through control now. Hold up a second. Health label. I don't like that, Sam. I am. Well, we'll see how it works. I have a feeling that this text here is going to... Actually, I'll just fix this. Yeah, I'll just fix this myself. Size, let's just do 100. We'll just give it some extra padding. My worry is that this here changing size is going to change the size of the overall pass-through control, which is going to affect the animations, but I'm just going to pad that out by an extra 100 in here, and that should give me enough room to keep the size from changing. Yeah. Honestly, I might instead do that in here. Yeah, let's do 279. That's not right. Let's just do 200. Okay, that'll work. So now we gotta animate that. So let's do health animation root. Now we gotta animate this guy. Private tween health tween. Okay. Private vector 2 get expanded get collapsed position node animation root. If node is equal to animation root, oops. That'll work. I don't even know if I need this button width anymore. Why do I even have that? Excuse me, sir, I'm streaming. No meowing. No meowing. Okay. If node is equal to animation root, we're going to do that. If node is equal to board animation root, we'll do that. If node is equal to health animation root, did I not get that? You okay, bud? Health animation root, return vector 2 dot left. Yeah, this is probably, I wonder, I'm gonna change this. Animation root dot size. Where is that? Animation. Oh, this needs to be here. Why am I doing this? I don't understand. I'm just gonna do the same thing that I did here. Yeah, we can make this a lot easier. Yeah, and I can just do this. That's easier. We're gonna get rid of this button width. I don't know why I even have that. Animation root.size minus. Oh. I know why. I need that button to stay out behind the screen. Okay. All right. Okay. If node is equal to animation root, return animation root. So return vector2.left times animation root.size. Yeah, I think that's correct. Okay, this get collapse position animation root, get collapse position board animation root. Okay. All right, all of that stuff being said, now I can do my health animation. We'll just see how that goes, I suppose. We'll see how that goes, I suppose. All right. I think Blippin' Bit's new game is going to be a mascot for Godot 3D Appner. I haven't heard of that. Started game dev with Scratch games. Then I tried to switch to Unity back then. It was too hard. I think Godot is harder than Unity, but at least in Unity they help you a lot in their extension. That's true. I think Godot is much easier and ergonomic to use. Did you do your own pixel art? What software and how did you learn to make good pixel art? Yeah, I'm making my own pixel art. I'm using Sprite, and I actually have a video on my channel about basically how I got good at pixel art, but there's a couple of like really important things that you can learn that will like immediately improve the quality of your pixel art. But beyond those tips, it's basically just you have to practice. Whenever I want to work on my game, I work for like 10 minutes and I go on Chrome and I end up watching YouTube all day. I think that's a problem a lot of people have, yeah. Godot seems easy, but as a pro in code, you need to work harder than Unity. I think to get better at pixel art, you just got to do it a lot and really think about it at least once in a while. Yes, that's right. My game dev shall peak from today onwards. Awesome. Show the cat. He's sleeping, or he's trying to sleep. I'm not going to disturb him. Stop working on code this week and completely focus on pixel art. I think it's more important. Yeah, you do need to dedicate time to like learning pixel art and studying pixel art. I have a video called The Tools I Use for Game Dev, which you can watch if you're interested. Making a restaurant sim game, and I found out I'm using too many signal on my game events global. Should try to tone that down. I mean, too many is like, you don't want to, I think it's a mistake to look at how many lines of code are in a script or how many signals there are and say, well, it's too many. It's like, it may just be that your game is complex and that you need that many signals, right? I mean, the question really is, is the presence of those global signals, is that making your game simpler to make or harder to make? And what I mean by simpler is, can you develop new features relatively easily with those signals? And what I mean by harder to make is, are those signals creating a spaghetti mess that is becoming hard to manage? Right? But just the number of signals that you're using and connecting to, that by itself doesn't tell you enough as to whether it's a problem or not. How do you stay focused on making your game and not go to YouTube or something and just wasting time? That is discipline. You have to be disciplined. I wish there was a better answer than that, but there isn't. You have to just practice biting the bullet, so to speak, and not letting yourself be distracted. And I think what you could do to build up the habit of discipline is like, if you can only do 10 minutes, then do 10 minutes. But then the next day, do 15 minutes, right? And then the next day, try 30 minutes. And just try practicing, like just bite the bullet for 30 minutes. Just do nothing else but work on your game for 30 minutes. And force yourself to do that. And then you can do whatever you want after that, right? And the idea is just build up. It's a skill that you have to learn like anything. But fortunately, the good news is that if you do that often enough, what you'll find is that you actually start to desire working on something rather than watching YouTube or something. So like nowadays I just played No Rest for the Wicked quite a bit, but generally speaking, I have no desire to play like video games or watch YouTube, because there's always in the back of my mind, like, I have this to do and I want to do this. It becomes like something that you want to do to work rather than something that you have to force yourself to do. That's what I've found anyway. How do you connect components when using composition in Godot? What I typically do is just add an export variable so I can have like components connect to each other by just exporting a variable that's like, hey, I want the health component. Then you just hook that up in the editor. And if you don't want to do that, or if that creates a mess of your components, then what you do is you, at the root node, you add a script that coordinates all the components together. That's how you would do it. I've built my discipline, but just always coding every Monday at school since the class is pretty much chill. Nice. Starting your most game dev at home. Very nice. Favorite indie game and what you're most excited for? I don't really have a favorite. What am I most excited for? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not paying attention too much to game news. I mean, Elden Ring Night Rain is going to be out soon, right? So I may play that a bit, but that's not really an indie game. I don't know. I don't know what's an indie game anymore. I don't know what's an indie game anymore. For my project, it feels like spaghetti and hard to trace. Mostly my events is for passing data from entity to my managers, and then my managers give output and feedback to the entities. I see. Yeah, maybe you do need to rework some things then. Are you not feeling well? Because I see you like sick. Hope you're okay all the time. I'm not sick, no. I'm maybe a little bit tired because I've been working on course content quite a bit, but no, not sick. Thank you for asking though. It's basically just me working for an entire day when I think of something cool. Yes, that's when you're like motivated, when you have a cool idea. But the problem is that when you're motivated to work on something, it's very easy. The problem is when you have something tricky to do or something difficult to do, it becomes much harder to sit down and do it. All right, I want to test this. Let's see if this works. Let's see if this works. That isn't working. What did I do wrong? Oh. Health animation root dot position is equal to get collapsed position. This should work now. There we go. So now we've got the health globe as part of that. So now I can see my player health wherever I'm at in the game. And this should work. So if I go into combat, nice. Let me make sure I'm not referencing that anywhere. I don't think I am actually. Yeah. So that looks great. We'll click begin here. I can see my health now. And I can go to the combat here. That expands out. Begin. Grow board, that increased the size of my board now. So somebody was asking about if you can increase the board size. The answer is yes there. So yeah, I really just need to figure out the I really just need to figure out all the UI visual stuff now. Ooh, the marionette, nice. So that marionette now, poison applied is increased by 1. Sweet. This is all feeling pretty good. Uh-oh. Except for that. There we go. Oh, all right. Well, the code is a little bit funky, but that's okay. So yeah, there's the auto battler portion of it. I got a lot of work to do still on this, but I'm feeling pretty happy with how the UI is functioning now. I just got to figure out what to do about all this stuff. What is your game dev daily routine that you'd always try to follow? Well, I stream every weekday at 10 a.m. Eastern for a couple hours usually, and then what do I do? Yeah, I mean, it depends on what I'm doing. Right now I'm working on the course, so I work on the course in the afternoon. But if I'm not working on the course, then I'm usually continuing to work on the game that's my active project, or I work on YouTube videos depending on what I need to do. Here's the game of Bippin Bits, dev of Dome Keeper. I'm gonna say the name, so buckle up. Oh my gosh. Planeten Verteidigung Kanonen Kommandant. That is a German word if I've ever seen one. Here we go, back to the start again. Hello to me in the future. Hello, Craig, in the past. How do you get a custom mouse cursor in the game? It's very simple. You hide the hardware cursor and you add a sprite that just updates its position to be the mouse position every frame. That's it. I can show you. Here it is. Cursor here, and then in the script, in the process method, the global position of the sprite is equal to the mouse global position. That's how I do it. You can implement a custom hardware cursor if you want, but I don't like doing that for a variety of reasons. It feels much chunkier and more thematic if you just make it a sprite. There is a little bit of lag with that approach, meaning that it will very slightly lag behind the real mouse position, but if your game runs sufficiently fast, it's not noticeable. Are you the one who imagined the mechanics of your game? Looked new to me, but maybe it was fun to play. I don't know what you're trying to ask, Kelso. Sorry. Doesn't the cursor have a bit of delay? Yes, a little bit, like a frame. But if you're running at 200 frames per second, it's not really noticeable. Especially for a game like this where it's not, you're not really dealing with anything real time. And also you're still going to click wherever your mouse is. So even though it's a little bit behind, wherever your mouse really is where the clicks are going to happen, which is fine. Soft lock, yay, I got to figure out why that's soft locking now. Anyway. All right, so that's good. I'm actually going to close this for now because I'm going to go merge all that stuff back into my master branch. Oops. Okay, we'll go back in here. Phew. Also, the custom cursor lets you easily interact with objects or something, right? You control nodes. Custom cursor lets you easily interact with objects. No, I don't think the custom cursor art has any influence over how the input works. I am using GUI input for mouse events, yes. For like mouse click and stuff. All right, so I really need to figure out some better art for this, but this is looking great now. There's some weirdness happening there that I want to resolve. Yeah, lots of work to do, but it's coming along. Now we're in the boss fight. Cool. What is this? That map fade was a great idea. It was, Adam. Thank you for the suggestion. Very good. It was a very good suggestion. Okay, well, I'm going to end the stream there a little bit early because I have a bunch of work to do on the course, and that's like the most important thing right now. But thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being here. I'll be back working on this game again. I might stream tomorrow morning. We'll see. But otherwise, I'll be back at it Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern. If you all are interested, please check out the links in the description below. Those are all the ways you can support my work. You can purchase Gunforged or one of my courses, depending on what tickles your fancy, I suppose. And otherwise, you can like the video, subscribe to the channel, watch my other videos, all that good stuff. And if I don't stream tomorrow, I hope you all have a good weekend, and I will see you back here on Monday. All right, bye-bye, everyone.